Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tarot with Natitude. I am Reverend Rob Lee, and this is Tarot with Natitude. And you know what? This is Tarot Simplified. Learn to read tarot in a day. Let me put this up. You know, a lot of you that are here tonight and people that are coming in know me, have watched me read, do some things. And we've actually even had some discussions on the channel about tarot and what's going on. And I keep saying I'm going to do classes or whatnot and put an actual course out. And what I decided to finally do the other day, and I just said, well, let's just get started. And the tribe is always wanting to learn tarot. Keep getting asked questions. So let's just go to every Thursday night, 8:30 right now is where we're going to start. And we're going to go and see what's happening. I'm trying to bring something up here for you so I can get it all shared over or whatnot. There we go. All right. So here's the book, Tarot Simplified, Making Tarot Easy to Understand and Get Started in a Day. Now, you can find the book. I'm going to use this as kind of a guide, way to go, where we're going to head in this course over the next few weeks or whatever we need to do or whatnot. But I'm not going to be so rigid. If y'all have questions, if we get into some things or whatnot, I will be glad to stop and answer questions. Let's get into some things or whatnot. So, but if you want to get the book, down below in the description where it says more, click more, go down, you'll see my link tree. Click down there. You will see the book. You will see this book. You'll see books by Gillian. Other things about manifesting and a manifestation journal, and even some other books about some things she was doing with few people don't know with a cancer journal, okay, that she dealt with a year ago, and radiation treatments and everything else. So there's a lot down in there you might want to see and come back up and look at. But the Tarot Simplified, it's very on me. I love the idea to take the scariness out of tarot. Okay, I want people to enjoy it. I want people to be able to understand it. My way is merely one way. And through this, the huge part is I want you to be able to find and master your own way of what you want to do it. It's individualized. Things are individualized. So, we've got Deborah, Cynthia, glad to see you guys tonight. Welcome aboard. See you here, going to be late, trying to get home now. It's all right, Cynthia, we understand. Oh, made it. All right, Deborah, good to see you. Donna, good evening, everyone. This should be a great show. I'm really hoping it is, and I'm wanting it to be more of a tutorial instruction and a question and answer period. Some of the things we might do is we might move some of this to an actual Zoom where we can all be live and be talking and be face to face and go on this. But this is the book I'll be using. I wrote the book. We're going to try to find it because I wanted to simplify this for people, so it's one of those things, hello, Rev, excited for tonight's show. We are too, and this is going to be something we're going to have a good time at, right now, the deck Reverend Rob is reading with tonight is Lightseer's Tarot by Chrisanne. And we're going to talk about decks. We're going to get into the very basis of the beginning because I think we've got a lot of people here that in different stages. So even then, we're going to talk and start, and I want to follow this through. So, one of the things I wrote about, and I was rereading some of this tonight, in the foreword is why I wrote the book. And, one of the reasons I wrote this and I got pulled into tarot is I needed another way to define what was going on in my life. Okay. My life, I didn't understand. Things were happening. Now, this goes back 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And things I didn't understand, but I knew there was more to this and more to my life than what religion had to offer. Okay, I'm not saying religion of any type is wrong, okay? But there were questions that couldn't be answered in my mind. And a lot of it was more on a personal note. Tarot was able to give that to me. But finding help and getting started, other than my association with Bridget, really it was a rough time. So as a social worker, things like that, y'all know it, and being in line with everything and wanting to make sure I'm doing everything right, man, I started looking up the rules of tarot. And you know what? What I found out, there are no rules to tarot. The number one rule is don't make any rules. Okay. This is for you. It's your personal way to use a tool to help you divine answers. If you want to look into the future, that's what you can do. But I need you to first start at what you believe, where you believe it, how you believe it, and is the first question we ask, and why I'm so leery on the show to get into talking about the future is I believe we have our own free will and we can make our own life and move forward, that we're not predestined to anything. So therefore, every day I have choices throughout the day. If I chose to stay home today and just chill out today, which I did, all right, that could have changed a path because I would have met somebody if I'd have gone and done some of the running around I need to do. See what I mean? So there are little things that we can do throughout the day in my belief that can change that path. So the first thing you need to understand is what you believe, why you believe it, and number two, okay, is what do you want to get out of it? Are you wanting to look for direction? Are you wanting for it to be a personal thing with you? Are you wanting to help other people or whatnot? And we're going to get into all of that throughout this course. There's not much we're not going to talk about. So this is it. So let's talk about the beginning and knowing really the biggest thing I get when I get people started is understanding the difference between tarot cards and oracle cards. Massive difference. So I'm going to bring something up here and we're going to show you tarot cards. Okay. And most of y'all know this and whatnot. So, but bear with me for somebody that might be watching this later or didn't know. I want to show you what this actually is and what you can see about a tarot deck. So here we go. All right. The Light Seers Tarot. We have right here, you notice I've got this divided into 5 sections. All right. We have the major arcana. Okay. And then we have the minor arcana, 4 suits. All right. Now, keep in mind that all of this originated from a card game way back centuries ago. Okay. And where this all started, it actually originated as a game in like the 1300s, 1400s, and then evolved into something else. So when we're looking at this, a tarot deck will have 5 distinct sets of cards. Sets. We have the major arcana. We have the minor arcana. Some people will call these the mundane, meaning that they are not, this is going to be your everyday stuff. When one of these pops up, this could be a life-altering or a game changer for you that's going to be rather large. So whenever we see things around these major arcanas, we really need to sit up and pay attention. Now, depending on the question you asked, what you're doing, and finding out what's going on. So we have pentacles, coins, a lot of that, earth, some of these things will be. That's a suit. And it's talking about the suit of pentacles is talking about everything in your real world, things you can touch, things that are real, things that are happening, your home, work, car, your family. Now, I'm not talking about the emotional aspect of it, the actual physical realm, finances, all of these kinds of things fall within pentacles, real, live, everyday things. Ace of Wands, this is sometimes called the spirit element, the element of spirit. So think of pentacles as earth, okay? Ace of Wands, fire, spirit. This is the will. When we talk about that fire, what's driving you? Where are you wanting to go? What's happening? And let's see what's going on with people in this realm. And then each of these will tell a story. And we'll start with telling a story tonight a little bit so you can kind of get a thing about what's going on. So now then, the cups. This is all about the subconscious, the emotional realm. This is all about emotions, things like that. So you need to remember these And this is what makes reading tarot very easy. Major arcana, once you know this, this is, I put that in the wrong spot, or I put these upside down. Ace through king, okay? Ace being on the low end, unlike a regular deck of cards. Then we have, so this is about earthly, real world, out here, what's going on, work, things like that. Wands, that fire, what's driving you, your will, your dreams, your passion, where are you wanting to go? Cups, emotions, love, and everything to do with emotions. Anger, joy, happiness, sadness, grief, all of these things that stem from that emotional plane that we get so mixed up in sometimes. All right. And then finally, we have swords. Swords are what y'all have heard me say on the show, from here up. Okay. Communication, conscious thought, and being in your head, everything in your head, knowing what's going on and leaving the emotions out of it. So those are your 5 distinct areas that a tarot deck has, okay? But an oracle deck does not have, all right? Now, some of you may have different things. Well, mine doesn't say, you know, when we look at some different decks, my archangel decks, this is divided into archangels, but it's all divided in the exact same way. There's major arcana. There is the archangel Michael, which is about the upper head, or head, thinking about what's going on. Raphael, which is the emotions. Then we have the ace of wands is Gabriel, okay? And then we have the page of pentacles is Ariel. So while it doesn't say cups, pentacles, the same basic structure is still there. So you want to make sure when you're starting this that you're reading an actual deck of tarot cards when you're doing this class or when we're going through it. So as we go through this, Gillian's in here tonight. If somebody's got a question or I'm getting moving ahead, you know, please pop your question in. I would love to see what's going on. I love for people to participate. You know, originated in Italy as a card game called Tarocchi. And there we go. And I'm not going to get into all the exacts of it, okay? Just know it's ancient, it's old, okay? And it has changed, it has morphed. Everything that has happened, okay, with it is, again, man's input into what's going on. So once you start understanding this and you realize there are 14 cards in each of the 4 minor arcanas, ace through king, the next thing you know is we're going to be talking about the numbers. What do the numbers mean? So if I tell you that ace is all of a beginning, the 1, it simplifies the beginning. It signifies the Fool falling off, and the 1 is the starting place. Here we go. So if we say the Ace of Pentacles encompasses everything of a new beginning or a new place to start within your material world. The Ace of Wands, the new beginning, a place to start within your will, within that space of passion, desire. What do I want to be when I grow up? That type of thing. So the ace, the 1, the beginning, the Ace of Cups, all about your emotion, encompasses everything having to start. Generally, it signifies a new beginning, something starting over in the whole realm of emotional world. Good, bad, all of it. Same thing with the swords. Swords are air. So we have pentacles are earth, fire, cups are water. You may see these referred to as chalices, okay? And that's, you know, that's what we're talking about here. And then in swords, you might see daggers, you might see different things like that, knives, different things, but swords is actually air. So I want to make sure I said this right because I'm kind of watching some things going by on the screen. You know, earth, fire, water, and air. Air up here, okay? Fire in your heart. What's going on? Not emotion, okay? The cups, the water, the way things flowing in your life, how you feel, what's going on. Those are things. Earth being grounded. The major arcana are the major steps that you will take and go through in your life, okay? So let's stop right there and let's say, is everybody with me? Has everybody got it? Am I going too fast? I always want to do a check-in, okay, and see what's happening. Did anybody bring their own tarot deck with them tonight? Do they have it? Are they ready to go? Or whatnot? Because we're not going to rush through this. We're going to do this and bite. We're not going to eat the elephant in one sitting, okay? But I'd love to hear from you how everybody's taking this, what's going on. If you have any questions right out of the gate. And so far, I'm not seeing much of anything. Okay, here we go. So we're going to continue on. Now, here are some of the other things you've heard me talk about. Rules. And one of the things I don't like is I don't like rules. When I first started, I had people actually telling me that I had to wait for somebody to gift me or give me a set of tarot cards. They had to come from somebody else who read. I'm the son of a Baptist preacher. When I started looking at some of this, nobody I knew was going to give me a deck of cards. This was crazy. So was I doomed, destined? No. So that's another rule. Remember one thing about that's about religion that everybody hates. We have so many people saying, I am spiritual. I'm not religious, okay? Don't turn your tarot into a religion. Spiritual's about the individuality of it. You can be religious and be spiritual, all right? And you can be spiritual and not be religious. This is one of the things. Religion comprises of a lot of rules, the ordinances of the church, these type of things, commandments, those type of things. We don't want to get into that. You need to have your own connection with who you're going to use to read these with. Cynthia, I pulled Justice Athena, a major arcana in my deck. So, Justice Athena, when you're telling me what card you pulled, because the decks are different, all right, Justice in my world is the 11. Make sure you're telling me what the numeric value is with whatever deck you're using, because you will see from deck to deck, sometimes the 8 and the 11, see right there. In my decks and a lot of what I do, Justice is the 11, and that would be your Lion. The Strength card would be the 8. I don't care. It's whichever deck I pull. I don't get lost in that minutia, okay? And what I'm looking at is I will see if those numbers make sense to me when I'm doing a whole reading and I'm adding up things numerically. So Justice, and we're going to we're going to go through a port where we talk about these cards now, and we're going to talk about each card individually as we go. All tonight? No, I don't even know that we'll get there tonight. Because again, we're going to keep this simple and we're going to keep it digestible. First thing, so now that you know what you're looking for in tarot cards, artwork is going to be a huge thing to me, okay? It's what speaks, it what brings different things out or whatnot, and why Gillian and I have so many different tarot decks, okay? We will let Spirit tell us to work with this deck. We'll find a deck and we'll fall in love with it. We'll work with it. And then all of a sudden something will happen and we're calling on Spirit. I actually talk to God. I talk to God himself, say a prayer, and ask him to give me the divine, the Spirit to come in to read the cards. That's who I'm looking for. Whoever you want to use to divine this, whether it be your higher conscious, you have to go no further than yourself. If you want to go to Athena, if you want to go to the moon, if you want to go to Mother Nature, the goddess, any of these things, okay, that's on you. Whoever you feel you can sit down and draw power and clarity from, that's where you need to go. Now, when you're shopping for cards, and this is always kind of the long part here, when you're shopping for cards, it's hard to do online, okay? I strongly suggest Gillian and I will call them juju shops, okay? And, that's one of those things where that's our short word for them, juju shops. We go to a juju shop. If they are selling tarot cards, I'm always drawing tarot cards, pendulums. It might, whatever order it's going to be. That's where I'm going. Gillian will tell you. Always heading there. She's headed right to the rocks. Okay. It's one of those things. But one of the things I will do, I will see if they have cards available to open up so I can look through the deck. Don't completely rely. You ever go to a movie because the trailer looks so good and you found out the trailer was the most exciting part of the movie? Artwork on these cards can be exactly the same way. They will only show you so many cards on the back, and a lot of times it's only the major arcana. Then when you get into the pentacles, they may just show you 8 pentacles and say, this is the 8 pentacles. And if you want the artwork to talk to you, to see things, because as you get into this and you start using your intuition and your focus comes sharper, I don't care how long you've been using a deck of cards. When you're doing a reading, if you're moving slow and moving with purpose, there are different times, different pieces of these pictures can pop out at you. And you're like, oh, why did I see this dog this time? I've never noticed this rose before. I've never noticed the sky looked like this, whatnot. Pictures talk, and that's a huge part of being an intuitive reader. Let the card speak to you. Let the artwork speak to you. But when you're going to buy these cards, see if you can either A, they have a return policy, because you get them home and you find out, man. Now, Gillian and I never return cards. We may put them on a shelf, okay? And if we're not drawn back to them within a year, we have a special box. And sometimes, like when I'm doing live shows, what we did last time at the Off Cabot in Beverly, what I did was we took a lot of our old cards, dumped them in a bucket, shook it up, and we sorted out envelopes, and about 40 or 50 envelopes. So when people would come up, I would have them draw an envelope out of there. It got the people involved, and then they got to keep their card. Only 1 or 2 times have I gifted decks to other people, all right? But I always feel I bought it, I was into it. At some point, maybe it'll turn its head, because I've also put a deck on the shelf for a year, and then I'm walking by with the intent to do a specific reading, and for some reason that deck will call to me. And I never understand why. And I like argue with spirit. I'm like, I hate the artwork in this deck. I don't like it. It doesn't speak to me. But lo and behold, when I listen, something in the artwork in that deck will pop out at me for that reading. And once it pops out at you for a reading, you don't want to let go of the deck. Then you're like, okay, what else is going to come with this? It's very exciting. These things happen, and this is what we do, okay? So try to make sure that you can put your hands on the cards, see the cards, see how they feel in your hands. Are you drawn to a deck? Now, the other thing we will do, remember, you receive with your left hand. You put out with your right hand. That's why the Buddha, you always see him like this, okay? He will have one hand here. He's receiving. The other hand is circling through his heart, through the rest of his body, and then back out to the world, all right? So I can lay decks down, and I will put my hand over them. Y'all see me do this with cards, with different things on the show, okay? And it is one of those things where I will, when I start asking Spirit, what do you want me to do? I will feel all of a sudden a tickle, or my hand will actually draw down to a deck and be like, okay, I don't understand it. We're going there. So there's more to just grabbing a deck that somebody told you was great or you saw. Because a deck that speaks to you, like if Cynthia finds a deck she loves and tells Donna, I found this deck, you want to check it out? Donna may get that deck and go, this is really cool, but I can't connect with it. Okay. Different things. Another thing I'm going to tell you about, when you get that deck home, okay, take some time. A lot of people are anxious to jump in and start pulling cards and start reading. You need to do this a lot, okay? Clean your cards. Now, I'm not talking about Windex. I'm not talking about anything else. This is one of those things where when you get started with a new deck, remember, they were mass manufactured, okay? We don't know who touched them, who did what, who had a fight over them, who was saying grace over them. We have no idea. So anything can hold energy. When you bring anything into your home, whether it be clothes from the store or whatnot, you should literally stop at the door and do a cleansing, do a spray, protection, or at least say thank you. We don't do that a lot of times. A lot of times we'll throw a shirt on, guilty, and just throw it on. But at the same point, we don't know who had that shirt on before us in the dressing room. We don't know who had that. Same thing with cards. And cards are very porous. They can hold energy. So what I strongly suggest you do is take your cards, get a deck, fan it out, okay? I love Palo Santo, okay? I just love it. Hard to keep lit, but I'll light Palo Santo and I will fan the deck, cover the deck with it, and say a prayer. And I will ask and tell and make set intentions of, this deck is only to be used for the higher good of myself or somebody that I'm reading for or anybody that uses it. And I don't accept any other energy in the room with it. I don't bring any attachments with it, and say, just like what you would do is an actual a cutting ceremony, as you would. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate with your tarot cards. Have them clean. Now, here, this is one of the most important things before you get started. Do you charge your cards under moonlight, sunlight, anything like you do with crystals? I do not. But now, here's the other thing. I also keep crystals all over my desk. Okay, so they're never far from crystals. There are times I will set crystals out. If I'm at a show, a lot of times I will use the chakra stones and I will put them on top of the different decks. All right. When I'm at a show, if I'm doing a one-on-one, like at a booth or something like that, the minute somebody leaves, I again do spray cleansings, do whatever, and clean the area. But I do not necessarily do anything more than what I'm telling you to do right here, Cynthia. But that is a great question. But if that's what you want to do it. Here is, to me, is what's a more important step. Once you cleanse the cards, most important thing, step 1. Step 2, pour yourself a cup of coffee, sit down with the deck, turn the TV off, all right? And take that deck and start going through it one card at a time. 78 cards. Doesn't take as long. First thing you do, look at you, and you can start with any one of the, but you want to look at them in order of whatever suit or the major arcana, whatever comes first to you. It doesn't matter, okay? But I will start with looking at the Fool. What does the Fool mean to me? Okay? What is that saying to me? Is there something in there? And I start getting a feeling for it. And then I'm also putting that energy into the card with my touch. My energy is now going on into that card. So I may take a look at this, okay? And let me bring this back up, okay? So you can see what I'm talking about here. I may take a look and say, okay, the Fool. Let's look at this Fool. Oh, this is a girl. Normally there's a dog. Guess what? I don't see a dog, okay? So loyalty is not an issue, doesn't appear to be an issue here, okay? Look at the faces on the cards. Is she in pain? Is she scared? Is she worried? Is this a willful leap or stepping off in a blundering move? Look at the lotus flower below and start saying, okay, this is the Fool. Just what draws you to that card. You do not have to know the meaning of this card when you first start your search with your very first deck or with any deck you're using. All right. Gillian and I will do this. If we haven't used a deck in a while, we will pull them down, resort them out into order, and go through them again. Okay. We don't necessarily re-cleanse them, but we will go through them again and again and again. And then we go through it. Sometimes it takes me half an hour to go through the deck or whatnot. As you're first getting to know this, what draws you about the card? If you're doing and all of a sudden one card sticking with you, you're like, wow, this card's really pulling me in. Stop. Find out what that card means. Go to the book, look at it, see what's going on, and see what's happening. Why is that drawing to me? What is pulling me in on that card? This is important because this is where you start to build a bond and a relationship with the cards. These cards are cardboard. If these fall in the toilet, I will throw them away and then go order another Lightseers deck. But when that new Lightseers deck comes in, I will do every step that I'm telling you again. Okay? Because I have done that, and for some reason, it was a deck I was attached to, and I couldn't get reattached to the new deck. And I had to put it on the shelf, and then eventually it comes back, it opens up. Something about it being my original deck or whatnot. But listen to these. This is your intuition. When we say somebody is an intuitive tarot reader, is just to remember they're listening to what their heart says. Like I said, pray and ask God, Spirit, y'all hear me at the beginning of the show. Let your words come through and not mine. And then I have to trust what I'm hearing is what God, Spirit, Mother wants me to know or wants me to say. Don't get anything set in stone, okay? Let it go, all right? You do not have to do spreads right out of the gate or anything else. I'm going to go through spreads, show you some neat stuff and everything else. Tonight, I want to talk about these first steps and how important they really are. Bridget, last night, I think Cynthia asked about, getting ready to read cards, things like that. Always get yourself in a mindset and in a place that this is something serious, that you're wanting to, there's an energy that goes with tarot that you need for yourself, whatever that energy may be. But take that time, put your hands on the deck, okay? Go through it. When you get done, you know what? If you don't feel comfortable, go through it again, and just go through it. Flip through the cards and start seeing and recognizing, oh, wait a minute. There's a story here within some of these cards. See what's happening. See what's going on. Don't get the book out. Don't do anything. Cleanse them. Say your prayer. Ask what's happening. And then start going through the deck. I'm trying to make a reading or whatnot. But if there's a card that's saying something to you and you don't know what the meaning is, that's when you pick up the book and look at the book this first time through. There, boom. Here's what you're going to find is a problem. Once you start looking at the book, it's hard to not look at the book anymore. Okay? So the books are good. They're there to help you learn. All right? They're there to help you be. But we become cheataholics. Okay? If that makes any sense. A caution to charging or cleansing by moonlight is evening dampness. Keep that in mind. Indoor on windowsills works. Absolutely. Now, I would strongly suggest this. Again, intentions being everything. If you're going to charge a deck and you want to charge that deck with moonlight, feminine spirit, I would strongly ask you to hold off on doing that until we cover what's coming next, because there's a way to interview your deck. All right. I don't even know if we'll get into that tonight. And the deck will tell you its strengths, its weaknesses, and what it needs to be used for. Learn whether it's the masculine, the feminine, or whatnot. When you're charging stones, when you're charging water, if you're going to charge it with the masculine, make sure the sun is set, the sun is starting to come up. You want it to be there. pull it down when the sun starts to dip below the clouds. If you're doing something in moonlight, wait for the sun to completely set, put stones out there, and then get up early and collect your stones, collect anything you're charging before the sun comes up. Now, if you're not doing a strict masculine, feminine search for the cards, you're just wanting to charge them, light energy is light energy. You do have to remember that the light coming from the moon is actually a reflection from the sun. Same energy, but in a darkened space. We're not looking directly at the light, okay? But we're seeing the light refracted. It is perfectly okay to put things for 24 hours in your window, let them soak, and let the light of morning and night come on them. That is, again, it gets into your individual preference. What do you want to do? What's your intentions with the deck? Am I making sense now? Am I making sense with this so far? Is everybody with me? Okay. I won't do that until I understand more. This is really my first step. And you know what? This is a guide. All right. And just like me, I wanted to get home, tear that thing open, grab the book, go to the spreads, find out what it is. And man, I couldn't make heads or tails of different things or whatnot. So this is why take the rule book, throw it out of the window. Only use the book to understand what this creator of this deck said was their intention when they built the deck. Do you have to follow that intention? No, you do not. Okay. But if all of a sudden something doesn't make sense, and now you know the creator's intention for that tool, it helps you to get what you're looking for a lot better. You know, I want you to imagine, okay, I'll give you a good, for instance, and people are going to laugh. Okay. When I was in police work and doing undercover narcotics, all right, we had to break into a house to plant a bug with permission, but the owner accidentally locked the door. We're like, oh, crap. And they were coming back with a very, very bad guy. We had to bust in. And when we did, it broke the door frame on the inside. And we only had like 10 or 15 minutes. All right. At that point in time, I was carrying an old 6-shooter, all right, with wooden handles. And I found some finishing nails, squeezed everything together, used those finishing nails, and used the butt of my gun, okay, to put everything back. Went into the bathroom, got toothpaste, and hid the nail holes, okay? Now, scared to death, all right? But it worked. Now, was that what the creator of that gun ever designed it to do? No. Anything can be a tool, all right? Did I take my gun home and throw out my hammer and say, oh, I've got a gun, works just as good. I don't need a hammer. No, okay? So with each one of these things, this is why you need to build this individuality with you, your deck, and your own reading style, okay? So, I mean, this is very, very important. What do we got here? Yes, what Rev Rob said, follow the rise and set of the moon and the sun. Absolutely. It's very, very important. So with that, I'm going to get back into where I was at here, and let's look at what was happening with this. We were talking about rules and different things to do with that first deck, okay? Now, one of the things to remember when you're looking at a tarot deck, we talked about the suits and, you know, wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. Now, the numbers, y'all have heard me, everybody here appears to have seen me in the show, have had readings or whatnot. Oftentimes, I will look at the numbers of the card. Let's talk about the major arcana. And we're going to start with the first card is 0, the Fool. Let's talk about numerology and math. 0. This is the only 0 card in the deck. Think of this as a story, and this person is actually your protagonist. They're the hero. They're the person that the story's being told about. They're on their journey. So therefore, the 0 is, people in math will tell you, and when we talk about the numerology, okay, people, real mathematicians will tell you 0 is not a real number, okay? It is a placeholder to signify nothing. Nothing here. Nothing cannot be a number. All right. So think about that. So when we're counting and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, in the tarot deck, for numerology purposes, 10 signifies an end coming back into the beginning. Okay. Now, in regular numerology, you would go 8, 9, 1, and then 12 becomes 3. 13 is a standalone number, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get you crazy. We'll get into numerology. But when you can understand 1 through 10, and you start learning, what does a 1 mean? What does a 2 mean? If we can say 1 is the beginning, 1 is the start, 1 encompasses the whole idea, the ace, and we know that this is the Ace of Wands, we have a new beginning. We have something starting out, all about fire. Understanding what those wands mean. So you've already got a good definition of where this card is going to take you. Now, it depends on where it falls in your reading or whatnot, how you're trying to read or whatnot. So, all right, I'm going to take a moment here. Take a breather. I want to make sure I'm in the right spot and everything. I'm going to take a look and make sure I didn't miss something, you know, that was very, very important. I see. Oh, shuffling. Yes. I've been asked this. I don't know why some of you are probably laughing. Okay. Shuffling the deck. Is there a right way or a wrong way? What I tell you about rules. Okay. Gillian shuffles her deck. Hey, Miss Bridget, glad to see you here. Waving right back. Okay. I've had people tell me you should never shuffle a deck like a deck of cards. That's why I grew up shuffling. Okay. Doesn't matter. They're like, it's disrespectful to the cards. Again, in Rob's world, in the Rev's world, this is cardboard. Okay. Now, what I do is I will be mindful of setting my cell phone or what goes on top of them because of the energy factor. But as far as how I deal, how I shuffle, what I do, whatever's comfortable for you, because you're going to see, look at the difference in these two card sizes right here with this Knight of Michael and the Fool. I'm going to bring this back up. So, and some people, you've only got so much hand, okay? So that card sits inside that card. If I didn't bring my other decks down. There are some decks that are very long. Y'all have seen that, my Lost Tarot deck. It's very long. So there are some of these that I will shuffle end to end. I'll do an actual, I will bring them out and do a regular card shuffle, because I'm not talking to the cards when I'm shuffling. I'm forming my thought. I'm forming my question. I'm forming what I want to know. Okay. I'm saying what the cards are going to be. Where are they at? What's happening? So Spirit knows what I'm doing. And so then when I do this, okay, this is what's happening. All right. Now, so other ways to shuffle, Bridget, y'all have heard Bridget and I talk about this before a lot. A lot of people, hand over hand. My wife can't shuffle a deck like I can shuffle it with that card style, anything else. You also have to remember, there are 20-something more cards in these decks than there are in a regular card deck. They're thicker, they're bigger, and sometimes the card stock, how they made them, what they intended them to do. Some are sticky. Some are not sticky. They're very slippery. Mr. Bruce got me, rifle shuffle, chunk shuffle, smush all over the table shuffle. And I have had readings One of my guys I haven't seen who's in Florida, one of the ways he would shuffle, he would put them all out, spread them out on the table, okay, and start pulling them back together. It's what works for you and what makes you feel good and how Spirit's going to do it. Dealing the cards, all right? Do you want to cut the deck? Do you not want to cut the deck? Are you going to read the bottom card? These are all things that as your tarot journey goes on, you're going to have to experiment with, and these things will come to you and be actually whatever you want them to be. And your tarot reading is going to morph. It's going to change. And one of the things you will find out is as you read more and more, and as you start to read for different people, a lot of things will change in how you're reading with different people. So let's see what's going on, okay? So that's the shuffle. Keep it simple. Keep it easy. Remember, this is supposed to be helping you spiritually, supposed to be enlightening. Don't make a bunch of gobbledygook out of it. All right, everybody with me? See, we're at 45 minutes, and all we've done is talk about getting your new deck, what it looks like, and everything else. And I don't know how much further I'm going to go tonight because I don't want to give too much information. And I also don't want to get started in something and then have to quit and try to pick up or start over in the next week. I think that's a good place because we're getting about ready of what to do and how to shuffle. You know, let me take another quick look here and make sure I'm where I want to be, you know. Yeah, we talked about burning sage, commencing your journey, looking at the cards. And like I said, the big thing is to remember what I'd like for you to do. You've got the book, great. If not, you want to get the book, get the book. But go online, do whatever, and you can go back and remember. If you want to watch this again, I'm going to tell you. Major Arcana, the Fool through Enlightenment, the World, 0, and most of the times you'll see these cards represented in Roman numerals. Most of the times. Some decks, they are not. If you will look, one here in this Lightseers deck, they are not, okay? But that is the Major Arcana. Major Arcana, life-changing events, things that you need to be aware of that could alter decisions and choices you make and things where you're going to go. It's time to really sit up and pay attention. Now, if you're doing a one-card pull and you're like, you know, all right, hey, how's my day going to go? There's the death card. Oh my God. Yeah, no. Lighten up. Remember, keep everything is in context with what you're asking, what you're doing. The death card, as you will find out, and as many of y'all have heard me say, means, you know what, today might be a good day, but you're going to have to let something go, okay, to bring something new in. All right. And be on the, somebody might be trying to give you a new idea and you're hanging on to an idea. Those types of things. These cards can get into your life in so many different ways and answer so many different questions that I could not get answered in the everyday world without going into the Bible and everything else. And then it just got all kind of crazy. You know, Deborah, so far so good. Glad to hear it. Donna, got it. You know, this was great. I'm loving it. Good. Okay. So that's where we're at. What I want you to do is start over with your deck this week. Okay. You've got 2 or 3 decks. I don't care. Okay. Put it back in order. You can never go wrong with doing this. Okay. Cleanse it. Get into a cleansing ritual. Find out what you're going to do, what you're going to say. Who are you talking to? When you're holding these cards, who do you want your messages from? Start writing this stuff down like that. So you know, wait a minute. Well, the card said. You will hear me say, well, the cards told me, well, wait a minute. Spirit said in the cards. You'll hear me back up a lot of times in that phraseology because I never want to take something away from Spirit. You know, I finally just got them mixed up good. You know what? Do it again. All right. And it's okay. You know what? And if you don't want to put them back in order, okay. But I guarantee you, if you do and you start going, okay, let's take a look, just to give you a hint. All right. And you start looking at cards in this way. Oop, let me go here. Okay. I'm going to move this up here. The Ace of Wands. So this is the beginning of my spirituality. This is the beginning of my heart, the fire, what's burning, where I want to go, my passions and dreams. The two of Wands. 1, 2. What is the connection? Oh, all of a sudden you look and you go, absorb the card. Look at it. There's a map. There's a vacation plan in this. She's looking out the window. She's planning where she wants to go. And when you start looking at these cards in this way and you start connecting that story, you can then understand better when the card comes up on its own of where that card was going in that deck and where it's been. Okay. So, 3 of Wands. Here we go. 3. So she's taking action. Look, if you look in this deck, it's really cool. VW Bus right down here. Okay. In her picture, the World. We've got her 2 of Wands. All right. Now she's got the 3 of Wands. She took a trip to the beach. If you look at this, do you see that it's in sunset, sunlight? Is she at dusk? Is she at dawn? But there are no waves. But she did what it takes to get from here to here. Action. And now I've done this part. Maybe I need to be patient. And each 3 will tell you something different for that suit. When you start going back through the cards and you look at it in that way, getting your energy, asking for guidance, asking for clearance or for clarity, okay, that will be able to help you do it. You know what? If you've got that deck good mixed up, just do it. Still go back through it, touch every card. What is this card saying to me? Then see if you can do it without the book and just say, what is this card speaking to me? It doesn't matter. Is Spirit speaking to you? Is the card speaking to you? Whoever you've asked, but just start departing your energy into those cards, okay? Don't turn it into a complicated process. Is that making sense, everybody? I understand that. Trust me, I understand it. And there have been times when we didn't want to, but Gil and I both said, you know what, I'm going to clear this deck out and start over. Especially if you're having problems with the deck, okay? So before I go, are there any questions about anything we've talked about right now with this part, the beginning, understanding? Do you have a question about the difference between Oracle and Tarot? Are Oracle cards bad? No, you've seen Bridget and I and Gillian, we use them all the time, but you have to know the difference in your tools and what their intentions are. And many times they can be used together, and we do it all the time. So anybody got any questions or anything that this was great, I'm loving it, okay, we can do this, tribe. Yes, we can. Elena, when putting, okay, help me, okay, when putting, redo that one, and I know you're probably already retyping it. I don't understand that, but I want to answer these questions. We're in no hurry. I'd rather take this time now to answer questions and make sure things are going on. So, Elena, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Glad to see you. So let's find out. And y'all find out when I do live shows, I talk a lot like this a lot of the times, Yes, we can, Cynthia. This is great. When putting hand over deck, do you use the left hand? If I'm trying to read which deck Spirit wants me to use, yes, I do. And Elaine, if you go back and rewatch, I talked about the difference of the left hand receiving and the right hand putting out. And that is very important to know. even if you're left-handed, that does not revert. It's the same way. Okay? So left hand receives. And then what you want to do, a lot of times I will close my eyes so I can strictly lock in on the feeling. And if you feel your hand sink, you might feel a tingling. You might feel like something touched you. Your fingers might move. All right. Those are the signs you want to be looking for. Okay. In that when you're trying to pick a deck or when you're trying to pick a card. Sometimes you can smear the cards all out. You can lay them all out in a line and start with your hand. And when you feel your hand drop, grab the card that's there. Okay? I strongly suggest you grab the card without opening your eyes. Set it aside. If you're grabbing 5 cards, grab 5 cards. You're grabbing 3 cards, grab 3 cards. You're grabbing 1 card, grab 1 card. Okay? That's all you need to do. All right? Take a look at it, but learn your tool. Thank you. I thought it was left. Just clarifying. Absolutely, it's left. Okay? So I have really enjoyed this tonight. Bang. See everyone on Monday. Yes. So Monday, 8:30 p.m. Be back on doing the readings. Adam, come back in with your questions or whatnot. Would love to see you back in. Andrew, that's it. And see you back in. Be glad to do some readings. As always, all the links, everything you need down below. Check it out. Tickets to the off cabot, things like that. And there's a link to my new X39 that I'm loving. Got some going out to some people. And I want y'all to understand, man, I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The energy flows. Everything's good for me. I just don't see myself ever being without these patches again. So with all that being said, if you have any questions, tarotwithanattitude@gmail.com. Reach out to me. Some of y'all have my phone number. Text me with questions, things like that. Have a great weekend. Everybody's saying, have a good one. Lots of information tonight, Deborah. Thank you. You're so welcome. I appreciate it. I enjoy doing it. So everybody, remember, take what you want. Make this thing your own, okay? You're now going to make your own peace, love, and light. Bang around.